Hello, everybody. Okay, so as promised, for the final project for our class, I have made a sample so you can see what it is overall we're going for. So now you have some choice in how you put together your final. I chose to make a Google Slides. So I, of course, chose the monarch butterfly because I'm a little obsessed with them. So this project should include aspects of our last 4 units that we are doing in biology, which are genetics, evolution, ecosystems, and human impact. So I'm going to take you really quickly through here so you can see the level of detail I'm looking for. I'm not going to present this to you about monarch butterflies. If you want to know about them, you can read about them. Okay, so I started off with some kind of background information. Just kind of overall, this is why I chose them. Because remember, you're supposed to be choosing an animal that has an issue, some sort of threat to it, though it does not have to be on the endangered species list. Monarch butterflies are not on the endangered species list, but they do have issues. Okay, a bit about the life cycle. A bit about what they eat, because milkweed is very important to monarch butterflies. So now I'm getting into the last 4 big units. So I literally Googled genetics monarch butterfly to find out some of these things. And always refer to the rubric for just how many traits you should be looking for and that level of detail. So I talked a bit about the migration. It's important to the overall about monarchs, and it's important to the genetics because the cellular respiration in monarchs is very different. So I talked about that. Here I talked about color of the monarchs. And this is all for the genetics section, contrasting our monarchs with the Hawaiian kind, which is black and white, and about dominant versus recessive. And I made a Punnett square. Easiest way to make an electronic Punnett square, please note that this is just a 3x3 table. Insert 3x3 table. So I talked a bit about genetic variation because this is super important. All right, now I'm getting into evolution. So one of the things that I've asked you to find is one of these phylogenetic trees. If you need help finding one of these for your species, I will be happy to help. Happy to help with any of it. There was not a lot on specifically monarchs out there, but I found a lot of stuff about insects and butterflies. So that's a good way to go too, if you cannot find specifically for whatever creature you've chosen. I talked about their selective advantages, which is something we're going to get into in the genetics unit. Here is another phylogenetic tree. I realize there's a lot of detail in there, almost too much. I just kind of thought it was pretty, so I included it. So now I got into ecosystems. So now monarchs have a lot in terms of ecosystem because they live up here by us, but they migrate all up and down and spend the winter in Mexico. Here's a bit about where they're coming from. And then I talked about the ecosystem itself, that we are considered a temperate broadleaf and mixed forest region with 4 distinct seasons. And just a bit about our averages here in New England. A bit about what they eat, because this is very important to monarchs since they only eat this one thing. A bit about where they go to overwinter in Mexico. I threw in this bit about Dia de los Muertos because the butterflies are actually very important to the Mexican people, and I thought it was interesting and beautiful and colorful. Got to put in a bit about the food web if you're going to be talking about ecosystems. What part does your species have in the food web? So here is a picture of a food web with a monarch butterfly. I did not make this myself. I found this online. Just Google it. Now, this is also very important about mutualism, which we have not gotten into yet, but this is about pollinators and their relationship with flowers, so that's a good thing to throw in there. And now finally, I'm talking about human impact and the threats to the monarch butterfly. So I made a little list, and then I got into each one of them directly. And then finally, I put in a bit about how we can make a change for our monarch butterflies. So you guys remember this stuff from the beginning of our year: planting milkweed, planting flowers, citizen science, and how to make a change. And then finally, these are my resources. So please refer back to this, not as not that I expect you to do monarch butterflies, but this is the level of detail I would like you to get into. I will post both this video and the presentation itself onto Google Classroom so you can see it at any time along with the rubric. Very good, guys. I know you got this. Hang in there.